What a difference a year makes. How confident and comfortable are you with this roster heading into this season?
Really comfortable. I think we have a lot of flexibility. We've added a lot of great players. We've added a lot of punch to our lineup. We've added a big starter in Tanaka, so I feel really good about our roster.
You mentioned the players, a lot of offseason acquisitions, whether it was Ellsbury, Beltran, McCann, Tanaka. Was there one of those moves that you looked at and said, this could really push us over the edge?
I think it's all of them put together. And I think Tanaka was really important adding to our rotation. We felt that once we got, the McCanns and the Ellsburys and the Beltrans and adding Brian Roberts and Kelly Johnson and getting Tex back and Jeet, our offense was going to be a very good lineup. But we felt that we needed to add another starter, and that's why we went and got Tanaka, and we think he really gives us a good rotation.
You look at some other members of the rotation, CC Sabathia, a tough 2013, obviously working very hard. Talked a lot about talking to Andy Pettitte, working in that cutter. Do you think that's a pitch that he's going to use and have success with this season?
I do. I think it's going to help him. And I think the biggest thing is CC can't get caught up in listening to always about the velocity. Velocity is important. Yeah, I understand that. I get that, and sometimes you get away with more pitches. But the bottom line is you got to locate and change speeds. And as long as he's able to do that, and we saw that at the end of the last year, and we saw it in spring training, he should be fine.
Joe, you look at Kuroda, he's a move that kind of went under the radar, but is back, of course, again this season. What has he meant over the past couple of years to this rotation?
He's meant so much to us. He was a workhorse for us last year and the year before as well, and it was great in the playoffs in 2012. And this is a guy that takes the ball every 5 days, gives you quality innings, gives you a lot of innings. He gave us 200 innings last year, and he means a lot.
Ivan Nova looks like a guy that's very refreshed right now. What have you seen from him over the last year?
I think he's realizing how good he can be. I think there was probably a little doubt in his mind, but he sees how effective he can be, and that he's really got good stuff. And he has strikeout stuff, he has ground ball stuff, and he can get deep into games, and that's what we need him to do.
Look at the outfield. It's a very crowded outfield right now. A lot of options for you. How nice is it for you to just have some options this season, where last year you really didn't have that?
Well, it's really nice, and it's options that have power, it's options that have speed, it's options that can play all over the place. I can run one as a DH one day, run another one as a DH the next day, so it's really nice. I think we have a very good outfield. It's a very good offensive outfield, but it's a really, really good defensive outfield.
We'll move to the infield, and there are some question marks there. Obviously, lost Robinson Cano in this offseason. How do you go about trying to replace a guy like that?
Well, I don't think you can ever replace a Robinson Cano. But you look at all the parts that we added together, and that's how you replace people. As a lineup, we're much stronger than we were last year. And Brian Roberts, we think, is going to do a very good job for us. He's played good defense. He's a switch hitter. He swings the bat. He's used to hitting at the top of the order. And this is a guy that's been very productive in his career, and we think he'll help us.
What are your expectations for Derek Jeter this year?
Just to be Derek. To play as much as he can at shortstop. Be an offensive player as well as a defensive player for us, and just to have another good year.
Former catcher, new catcher on this team. What do you like about what Brian McCann brings to the table?
The intensity that he brings. I love it. I mean, this is a gamer that plays the game the right way. It's an offensive weapon. I think he's going to love hitting in our stadium. That does a great job with young pitchers as well as older pitchers.
He's going to be a constant in that lineup, but some guys that are maybe still trying to win a spot on this team comes in the bullpen. Is this the first time in a while that you've had that much movement in your bullpen?
It's the first time ever I think I've had, since my rookie year as a manager in Florida. Robertson's going to be our closer, and then after that we're going to have to be a little bit creative, and it's a little bit harder this year too, because some of the guys that are going to be in the bullpen are competing for that fifth spot, and that won't be ironed out till the end of spring training.
Well, you mentioned that fifth spot in the rotation. Michael Pineda has been a guy that's been impressing a lot of scouts, impressing people within the organization. How much of an upside does a guy like that have?
He has a huge upside. Once he gets to where he gets beyond this injury, should be able to eat up a lot of innings, in the future if he gets back on track to where he was. This is a big, strong guy that has power and gives us a different look than our other starters, so he's interesting.
I spoke with Mark Teixeira a couple days after pitchers and catchers reported he was here working out already, and he said this really has the vibe of the 2009 team. Do you get that same vibe?
I do. It has a great feel in that clubhouse. There's a great energy here. Guys are excited to get the season started. We feel that we have a lot of weapons this year, and it does have that same feel.